Hello Tubesters, it's Gav and welcome to another one of my videos. Sorry for not paying you any attention just now, but I just wanted to get out this. Yes, we're at vlog number 4 on the LAV C2 build. That's the US Marine Corps LAV command vehicle, that's light armoured vehicle, and I'm doing it in a Kosovo setting. Well, say it's not going to be on a diorama as such. I am contemplating making like a small, I see people do just like it doesn't have to be a road, but just a very tiny something for it to sit on, just to put some context to it. It's coming along, I think, really well. I've been learning different techniques, you know, again the oils. I've managed to fade down a lot of the paintwork, which is what I wanted. Several of the vehicles that I'd seen in Kosovo and other places with this particular tri-camo on, they are really faded and flat, and I've put some other bits and pieces on which we'll have a look at in a minute, but overall everything's going really well with it. As usual with me, I've messed up in a couple of areas. The decals, from what I've seen, they've obviously copied it from the unit that was out there. They named all their vehicles, maybe after Star Wars, I'm not sure, but this one was called the Death Star, being I suppose a command vehicle, and the centre of all the, you know, the electronics and whatever. The main vehicle name, again, problem is with this head, I don't get a lot of sleep and all the rest of it, but it means that when it comes to reading instructions and things, I often stuff them up. And the death and the star are supposed to be, you know, underneath each other slightly, and I've put them lengthways because I thought they were all one decal. So when I came to wipe it onto the vehicle, obviously it was two separate ones. And anyway, when I came to do the second one, I thought, well, I'm going to have to put it lengthways because obviously I've done it the same on the other side. Only to find that the entire decal just crumbled up. I mean, literally as I was moving it off the backing, it just disintegrated into a million pieces. I mean, the kit is from around 2007, I believe, 2008. So I suppose it's been sat in the box a while. So that was a bit of a, you know, so the vehicle's got one name on one side of the vehicle. I can't do anything about that. I presume a lot of the other stencil data, if you want to call it that, is you know, for towing points and do not touch this and, you know, all that type of stuff. Because there are other bits in the kit for, I presume, a different command, or for probably actually for the other LAV that's coming sometime from China to me, with the turret and the gun on. So there was a lot of that stuff on the sheet that wasn't on the vehicle, and I did find that the decal sheet wasn't particularly, there were numbers to decals that didn't match what it was showing me on the sheet itself, you know, where it shows you to put them. But yeah, it is what it is. They're all black. I put some oils, a very slight oil wash over the top to try and get the shine off the decals, because that's something I just can't seem to get nailed down at the moment, is to stop decals shining. I've still got to put a matte coat over this anyway, so I'm hoping that that does the trick. So yeah, decals were a bit iffy in the placement and the quality of them. I say the actual ones that went down were fine. It was probably just an age thing, like us all that have got to just hit over 50. So yeah, join me down at the bench, guys. Let's have a look at this. There's a fair bit of progress. We're not that far off from finishing now. Apart from, as I say, I might overcomplicate things and make a little road. I won't stick the vehicle to that road. I'll just you know, have it there. Maybe even just to transfer different vehicles onto it as I make them. So catch you down at the bench in a minute. Right, guys. Thanks for joining me down at the bench. This is the LAV. It's as usual, because I've now got my mighty lights on. It's shining a lot more than it normally would do. I mean, you want a slight metallic shine to it, I suppose, but yeah, the lights are just making it a bit more shiny than it is. It is quite flat. I flattened all obviously the blacks that I found flattening the black. I mean, it's gone to like a grey. I don't mind that at all, because the vehicles I've seen, the black's gone to a grey, because these do seem to be painted in NATO black, and as I think I've said before, for those of you guys that don't know, NATO black is like more like a grey, smoky black, if that makes sense. It's not as like a jet black colour. So let's have I'll see if I can pull it up. Peter, yeah, I know about Pete did suggest I wear gloves so I don't get the mucky handprints, greasy handprints all over it. And as I said to Pete at the time, unfortunately in the UK at the moment, I've only got a finite amount supply of rubber gloves, and I use those for spraying. At the moment, obviously they're like gold dust. So yeah, that's why I'm using my hands, Pete. But I do take aboard what you said. Yeah, so let's go around the vehicle. Where are we going to go, Gav? I might as well start at the front here. These were painted orange, as it showed on the thing, on the instructions. Even these have still got to be done yet. And I put some of that crystal clear over the. Is it crystal clear? The wet that you can stick canopies and that with, just to give it a slight lens look. I don't really think I've achieved a great deal with that. It's got K4, which is obviously for Kosovo. It's done in this hand-written wobbly writing, because that's how they were on the vehicles there, or the pictures I've seen anyway. I might have wrote them a bit smaller. I've purposely done it so the paint bleeds through in some parts, you know, so it has literally just been daubed on. I must admit, if one of my sergeant majors, as I was one of the company drivers, if one of my sergeant majors got me to write that on like that, or told me to write that, and then he saw that, I'd probably be doing about 1,000 extras. Right. Also, what have I done? Yeah, the viewing lenses here, the blocks, viewing ports, whatever you want to call them. I came up with the idea after the fact, so I'd already painted the vehicle, but before I'd oil washed it, and I've put it somewhere. Oh, here we go. I used this. This is like a thin, sticky back mirror finish. You can get it from eBay. I can't remember how much it cost me for a metre of it. This is one of Plasmo's tricks again. He did it on one of his Lavochkin fighters, and he just used a very thin strip of it to show some chrome around an engine cowling. And I thought, well, if I stick that on these viewing blocks, all right, as usual with me, I haven't cut them exactly to size. I'll do better next time, I keep telling myself. But what it does is, if you put just get your paintbrush and put a thin bit of, in this case I use a mid-blue and a purple, it gives you like that iridescence look, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but whenever I see them, the viewing blocks tend to be quite light, and the mirror slightly shows through if you do it thin enough. So if you keep your paint thin and then literally blend them in together, so you might say where's the darkest area you want to show, so you put your darkest colour in the lighter end, and then just merge them, blend them in roughly. It only has to be roughly. Of course, did all that, really chuffed, Gav all over. Hey, what's this giant viewing ports here? And I haven't put a bit of sticky on that, so that's another job to be done. And there's also, which I hadn't even noticed until I started putting the oils on, these are actually two little viewing blocks as well. Why there's two faces facing that way, I have no idea, but there's obviously a reason for it. So yeah, that's that. You can see how the paint's faded with the application of the oils. So I used a grey and white mixed together to lighten it up, and although that looks really quite light under the lights, and it is, it's exactly what I've seen. There was a particular vehicle being loaded onto a transport aircraft, and that is exactly what it looked like. So I keep telling myself. So that's that. What else have we got to show you? The MG, the machine gun, I've just got to check that the can holding the ammunition box is actually that colour. I've still got to check that one out yet. I wasn't sure if it wasn't like the bronzy colour that the ammo boxes were, but I think it'll probably be vehicle colour. The MG, what I'll be doing is that's had an oil wash as well, lightening it up on the leading edges, but I will be putting a graphite pencil across it in places, just to show the metallics on it. Obviously this rear end on the butt is like a hard plastic. And so that's that. Oh, I stuck the mirror tape on the mirrors, so our boy knows where he's going. I've still got to actually paint around the outside. It gives you a, let's have a look. Obviously I've got the white tape there, so that needs to be painted around. Obviously the winch has got a bit of a metallic look to it. As I say, the lights have still got to be done. These are a bit unnatural, but the way I'm saying it, the mud's actually pushed it in, you know, dried off or whatever and packed in, and it's left them at that angle. The mud itself, things like this, which still have bits to be painted over yet, that is magic putty, magic sculpt even, but you know, anyway, any type of epoxy putty, and the same in the very deepest recesses of the vehicle. Let's have a quick squeeze. So up here, that's just because I wanted to pack in more of it. But then I went over, and that was done after the vehicle was painted, which again looks a bit unnatural, but you know, you think, well, would you not done it before? One, I didn't think of it, and two, it's actually worked, because what I've wanted to do then is I've made a mix up of dry tea bags. I think I got that one off my mate Frederick. I don't know if this is his complete mix, but I put dry tea bags and PVA glue. I put a bit of silver sand in there as well, like play pit sand, which I use for bases of my 18 mils and my other soldiers, just to give it thicken up the consistency a bit, and put some acrylic paint in there, and it's given this really nice you know, mud effect. Replicated a couple that I've seen on vehicles, and obviously there's bits chopped up, not overly done, just chopped up on the front bill of the vehicle there, you know. And I've stuck the odd bit on jerry can holders where it's flicked up and held onto a ledge. You know what mud's like. I'm not sure if, I mean, in the British Army, the black jerry cans are normally water, or they were 20 odd years ago when I was in. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be water in the US Army, or some different type of fluids or whatever, but it said put 3 cans on, all fuel cans it's called them, but I decided to go with these 2 as the fuel cans, and again I tried to give those a look that I'd seen on vehicles, like a bronzy look to them. A lot of them are written down with the vehicle, so obviously nobody can nick your jerry cans, and believe me, it's prevalent in the army if it's not tied down. You know, I would believe in any country, one unit will quite happy to nick another unit's kit. So they're quite often put the vehicle call sign down the jerry can. So yeah, I've done this one as a water one. I've dirtied it up, but I've tried to make it look as if there was fluid in there. I don't really know if that's really worked, but that's what I tried to do on that. Exhaust here, I'm not doing like some rusty exhaust you see a lot in like World War II vehicles and that. All the ones I've seen, you know, they weren't rusty. I do have to put some more oil wash down to also put this vehicle exhaust across. So again, yeah, it's coming along really nice. As I say, I can't believe I'm so proud of those little vision ports, and then, or blocks, or whatever you call them, and then left these ones completely off the front. And then I could understand the 2 on the top, because you could hardly know what they were until you really got in close. But these guys at the front, oh well, it'll give me an extra bit of work to do, prolong it a bit, because I've really been enjoying my modelling. The wheels, I won't show you obviously all of them. I wanted to try the mud mixture out on the wheels, although I quite understand that when I come to put the wheels back on, I'm probably going to knock a lot of it off. But I'll have to go over them again anyway. But yeah, you can see the like the teabaggy bits, but it gives it a more natural look. And you can use that on any covering that you've, whether it's modelling, soldier vignettes, even war game soldiers, I'd imagine. So there will be a bit more obviously mess going on yet, but there's no point until I wanted to get behind the wheels before I did anything, and I didn't want these to be overly coated. The ones I saw, obviously, they've gone through a field or something. It's literally cut up all the turf and mud and flicked it all up. But then I've obviously gone onto a road, a hard surface or something, so a lot of it on the actual vehicle wheels have been flicked off. The one thing I left out was the propellers on the back. I left those out because I wanted to see where the mud would lie with the vehicle tyres and do those at the same time. So yeah, I think that's about everything. Oh, the antennas, Greg Riley told me about guitar string. Unfortunately, the way the post is at the moment and that, I mean, I've still got 2 kits and some thinners from a different company somewhere out there in the ether. I'm just hoping they get to me. If they don't, well, the way things are at the moment, there's worse things that have happened in the world than losing your kits. So I'm using this florist wire, which you see me use for loads of stuff, but it is a decent enough diameter. It's fairly flexible. I'm going to just have to the actual antenna mounts are too thin for me to try and open up, I think. Not with the type of drill bits I've got. I might try. I have got some ultra tiny ones, but they're the ones that snap every time you try and use them. So I might try. If not, I'll just have to super glue them and then paint that over. Forgive the grubby fingernails, guys. I've already been working this morning. So yeah, so they'll be. I'll put those in I've got to do some spraying tomorrow, and I'll give this a cover of matte coat. So I'll give these a spray at the same time. So guys, that's my LAV C2 project, and for vlog number 4, that's a progress I've made. As I say, I can't talk too highly of this kit or praise it, whatever you want to call it. As I say, for just somebody that wants a fairly simple build, whether you're a hardcore modeler and got years under your belt, I know to a lot of people, command vehicles and engineering vehicles, they're not particularly exciting compared to obviously big guns and missiles being fired off vehicles, but I like them. And as I say, this little guy, for a beginner like me, or well, returning modeler, but I'm more or less a beginner. For a beginner like me, you can have a go at everything. You can have a go at learning to fade the paint. You can have a go at just basic gluing things together. It's you can, as I've said before, you can pose this with the hatches and the doors open, but unfortunately, obviously, unless again you're a really competent builder and you've made a lot of interiors to vehicles, then there's not much point, because it is just a completely open box, which is a shame. It's the same. I've got the Striker the same, and that's what put me off building the Striker originally, because I'd hoped to try and scratch build, and then I obviously realised with having a 1 or 2 kits under my belt, that wasn't really going to happen. So I really would recommend the kit if you fancy doing it. Then I got this for £19 or £20, and it might have even been free delivery. I can't remember, but they're not expensive. And they'll give you a lot of fun for as long as how long you want to build it for. So thank you very much, guys, for popping along and taking a look. I do appreciate you stopping by and taking a look at these videos. As I say, I'm popping more on at the moment, just as an entertainment value for people, more than I normally would for myself. But I've been enjoying your videos, whether they're modelling, figure painting, it's all good. I'll be putting a ramble video up at some stage because I've got a couple of things to say of no particular importance. The Sea Fury, I keep mentioning the Sea Fury without you getting to see it. Sea Fury, at the same time, this was given a not a gloss coat, a satin coat. Sea Fury was done as well. As I say, my head's been a bit mashed, so I didn't really want to tackle the decals on that and stuff them up. So she's just waiting for me to get in a zone where I can actually put the decals on, and then finally move her on. So that's upcoming. I'll say I've got some naps painted up, 18mm naps. They'll be coming up on a video in the next 48, 36 hours, something like that. The Becker's commands have been primed, and I've done a small bit to the base as well. I had to just do a tiny bit of conversion work on those, badly, but they're done and they're under primer now. I've got another lot of 18mm naps for my client. They've been primed and they'll be starting to get painted tomorrow. So it's all go in Casa Gav. I do hope that you're all well and that you're finding things to do. It's, as I say, it's just, you know, get on your bench if you've got stuff to do, and just lose yourself in your kits and figures. It's the best way. So look after yourselves, guys. We will catch each other very soon on another video. Cheers.